So today's unit is all about rates. So we're still on unit 6, just we went from ratios, now we're going to be doing rates. So a ratio of two quantities using different units is called a rate. So basically it's kind of like a ratio, only you're comparing two quantities that have different units, and it's usually talking about like the speed of something. So for example, if Bob can read 20 pages in a book in 5 minutes, the rate would be 20 pages in 5 minutes. So the two unit rates that they're talking about, or the two rates that the units that they're talking about, are pages and minutes. Okay, so basically that would tell you how fast you're reading the book. So rates are usually talking about speed. So in this case, they're talking about how many pages you can read in a certain amount of time. A unit rate is a rate that compares a quantity to one unit of another. So it's basically saying if you could read 20 pages in 5 minutes, how many could you read in 1 minute? So that's the example that we have here. So in order to do that, you divide both of the numbers by the smaller number. So in this case, the smaller number is 5. So you would divide them both by 5, and you would end up getting 4 pages per minute. So one of the numbers is 1 every time in a unit rate. So you divide both of the numbers by the smaller number, and that's going to make it a unit rate. Equivalent rates have the same unit rate. So we just said that a unit rate is when one of the numbers is a 1. So if you look at this example, 8 pages typed in 16 minutes is equivalent, or means the same exact thing as reading 4 pages in 8 minutes, or typing 4 pages in 8 minutes. Because if you simplified it and divided them both by the smaller number, they're both going to equal 1 page in 2 minutes. So if they have the same unit rate when you simplify them, which means you're dividing them both by the smaller number, then they are equivalent rates. To solve rate problems, you make a ratio table. So we did this before, now it's called a rate table, but it's pretty much the same thing. You find the unit rate, so that means you divide them both by the smaller number, and then you use that to solve for other values. So for example, this one says Julie can run 3 miles in 30 minutes. How far can she run in 50 minutes? Typo. So in my chart, I have 3 miles in 30 minutes. I need my unit rate, so I'm going to divide them both by the smaller number. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 30 divided by 3 is 10. That means that she can run 1 mile in 10 minutes. Now we want to know how far can she run in 50 minutes. 10 times 5 is 50. 1 times 5 is 5. So it would take her 5 minutes to run, or actually 50 minutes to run 5 miles. So we've already done ratio tables, so hopefully this will be helpful. So this time you're simplifying it all the way to get into your unit rate, and then you're using your unit rate to solve the problem. So I'm going to have you pause, and we'll try some on the big ideas.